Welcome back to the Everything Goes podcast with your host, TAK. A weekly podcast with the latest sports news, the hottest of the hot takes, and the best predictions you can get. Now, Chris, Ace, take it away.
What is up, everybody, to the podcast of Everything Goes with TAK, and Ace is back in the house with that flannel rocking looking good today. Guys, it feels so good to be back. There is so much to talk about. We talk about every single offseason that the football offseason cannot get any better, any crazier, any more drama-filled. We've had a wild week already. We have had a wild week. Big congrats to Jason Kelce, probably the best center in history, as many would say, to play that position, has officially retired today. Travis Kelce was there, shedding some tears with his brother. His mom was there. It was emotional. It was a great, big, huge congrats to him. There could be possibly 14 teams this year either getting a new quarterback for free agency, drafting a new quarterback. There is maybe even more.
I want to hear this list.
This is maybe even more, right?
Is Dallas on that list?
That's just the list that I came up with. Dallas maybe could be on that list. Are the Giants cleaning house? Done with Daniel Jones as the rumors are flying out of the combine? Saquon's not getting franchise tagged. Is he going to the Texans? He's definitely not going to Dallas. I could tell you that. Russell Wilson is cut after 2 seasons with the Denver Broncos. That whole let's ride is completely out and done.
He's riding into the sunset.
We're going to break down where he will land, where some of these top free agent quarterbacks will land, where some of these draftees will land. And hey, the Bucs gave Evans a big extension. Is Baker next? I don't know. But again, lots to break down. We're going to break down the Steelers quarterback room because they're out on apparently everybody and are just gun-ho on Kenny Pickett. But
first of all, we got to ask Ace, how did you shoot out there in California?
Best round was at Shadow Ridge. I think I shot an 82, so 11 over. We played this one course that literally everything fell off the green. It was elevated greens and like the freaking softest green you could think of. Everything, no matter what shots you hit, would either come up short, roll off, hit the green, roll off the back. Courses were absolutely amazing.
That's California for you, man. Just a trashy state.
Whatever. Up there goes all of our listeners in California. All 3 of them. I just heard them click off.
Ace, it's great to have you back, man. How long were you in California for?
Sunday to Sunday. Our flight Saturday.
Oh, you were out there for a while, man.
Yeah, we played golf Monday through Friday, so 5 rounds, different courses. Yeah, we were supposed to fly out Saturday.
Where at in California?
Palm Desert we stayed in, which is close to Palm Springs, so kind of like the Southern Valley. It's like 2 hours east of LA, roughly.
Right, good.
Something
so
like
you
that,
didn't see you didn't see all the zombie land and everything that's going on right now.
You can't see much out there with all the smog in LA, and
all
then
those
if you go north, you
wildfires.
got all the snow and everything.
A lot of wildfires going on in that area. Texas right now is getting hit with it. I guess that's not technically California. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I think the Texas fires was started by a bunch of Democrats. They don't like Texas.
Conspiracy theory here. Texas is ready to go to war with the border. We're really bringing it all up right now. Guys, it's great to be back, man. I mean, this is one of my favorite times of the year, besides the actual NFL season, is when we get into the actual stage of free agency. Yeah. And then you get to the draft. And you can just start to see. I mean, the Saints negative $80 million in the cap, and they are one contract reconstruction away from being $30 million in the cap. I don't know how they.
I just sent you that message.
They have reconstruction. They've reconstructed so many contracts in the past couple of days that they are now negative 17. And if they reconstructure either Alvin Kamara or Taysom Hill or not Denard Robinson.
You guys let Marcus May walk.
Good. He's injured every year with suspensions and stuff. But I mean, it's amazing that the Saints can kick the can down every single year and be like, oh yeah, Saints are negative $1 million in cap hill. I don't know how they're going to do it this year. And now we're about to be $30 million above the cap. Like, it's just mind blowing.
The only thing I can say about New Orleans is I'm glad we have computers today and they can put everything on the computers. Could you imagine if somebody had to write and keep track of all those contracts, the restructuring and pushing all that money out?
I feel like you need a smart person to really be like, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. These are the numbers we're going to punch in. If you reconstruct him, boom, boom, move this guy, cut that guy. Like, it's just like,
all you're doing is kicking that can down the road, and then next year to be negative 90 million. And
Maybe I don't know, man. Like I just don't even know. It's a myth. Let's be honest. The salary cap isn't real. We talk about this every single year. Here we are.
At some point it's real, but you're right. Every year they can just push contracts back. And that's what makes this free agency period a little bit interesting, especially as a Vikings fan, because you keep Kirk Cousins, great, that's fine and dandy. But with Russell now available and some of these rookie quarterbacks, you could bring Russell in for a freaking vet's
Ooh,
minimum.
is Russ
Minnesota-
going to Vikings? Is that
I mean,
breaking news? Is that breaking news?
No,
I'm
no,
not,
they're gonna
I
get
don't
Trey
want
Lance.
it to
They're
happen,
getting Trey
but
Lance from Dallas.
Yeah, that's not a bad
God, no.
option either.
No, I don't want, I'd rather have Ross.
Hey,
No,
so
Minnesota
listen,
has-
Like, it comes down to the quarterback value, like Chris always talks about. Would you rather have Kirk Cousins at 40, 45 or Russell at 2? Sorry. I'd like to see
I'm
what-
taking Cousins. I'm taking Cousins.
I'm taking Cousins too.
I'm taking Cousins.
Cousins-
In this
Cousins is
situation,
still
in
whipping
this
it around.
situation, I'm
Rudy?
taking Cousins. Rudy, where are you
No,
at? in this
Minnesota has
chat?
$37 million in cap space.
Yeah.
Right now, the Saints are at negative 17, and Dallas is at negative 10 mil.
Oh, look
Right?
at that. Look at
Buffalo
that.
Bills minus 40. You know who's, and I told
Buffalo
you
is
guys a
gonna
couple
be
of podcasts
interesting.
away.
They're gonna trade Diggs, man. It's gonna
The
be
team that
interesting.
scares me the most, the Washington Commanders, man, $91 million in cap space.
Yeah, but we saw the Bears last year had all this cap and they signed
That's the
all
Bears.
these people.
That's the Bears.
Yeah, but
The Commanders got new ownership. They got a new GM. They got a new regime. They got a great coaching staff now.
I
Yeah,
think that
kinda
they're
scary.
I think the Commanders are gonna draft a quarterback. It's probably gonna be May. Everyone keeps talking about May, or it's gonna be I don't know if it will be anyone else. But I think Sam Howell still starts that next year. I think they're gonna compete. I mean, Sam Howell's not a terrible quarterback. I mean, we talked about
way.
him getting cut or no more chances, but I mean, I think you let them battle
No
out.
way. Dude, you take a quarterback at number 2, you're
just-
starting him.
yeah. I gotta
Maybe.
agree with that.
Maybe.
I
Just
just
saying
don't
like the
it's-
90s when he sat the bench for 4 years.
Well, you know what? It is a new head coach too, so he's probably going to go out there and get his quarterback that he wants. You know, they got their offense coordinator that they want. So, I mean, I forgot about that aspect of it. I wanted to start this podcast off with the Steelers quarterback room, but I am just so intrigued to get into the whole Kirk Cousins thing right now. So,
Oh geez.
I want to discuss Cousins and where he's going to land because
Atlanta.
if you put it like this, Ace, Minnesota is essentially saying he ain't going to get anything better than what we're giving him. We're offering him something right now on the table. There ain't no one out there that's going to give him anything better. They're very content if he walks and tests this. And I'll tell you what, Ace, the more you do research in, Atlanta's looking real nice. And here's why Atlanta's looking real nice. Atlanta's got a nice young group of core players, right? They're in probably one of the weakest divisions in NFL football right now. His wife, her parents from Georgia, still live there.
Oh, I did not know that.
Kurt is ready to move his family to Atlanta, man. And if I'm thinking, am I going back to Minnesota where it's cold? Might not even get JJ to come back? Or am I going to Atlanta where Raheem Morse is the new head coach and he was at the Washington Redskins at the time with Kirk Cousins? All signs pointing to Atlanta, man. And I'm saying if I'm Atlanta, I'm not. Why draft a quarterback when you can go get a quarterback for like Kirk Cousins, who's been decent? You could say Kirk Cousins been top 10 quarterback the past 4 years.
They have 4 quarterbacks going in the top 8, and Atlanta's one of them. If Kirk Cousins isn't going to be moved until after the draft, okay? If Atlanta takes it, I think it's going to be. I think after if Atlanta takes a quarterback in the draft, I can see Russell Wilson going there for the veterans minimum. He's getting his $39 million from Denver. They're not going to pay Kurt $35, $37, $39 million if they're going to draft the quarterback.
But who says Kurt's going to want to get that money? What if Kurt's like, I'll take 20. They draft a quarterback and let him learn behind Kurt.
There's nobody in this league that's desperate enough to say I'm going to take 20 million.
Who's to say? Now imagine this situation: they sign Kurt before the draft, then they go out and draft like Harrison Smith Jr.
You know,
If
Is it Harrison Smith? I always watch that. Is it Harrison Smith or is it someone else?
It's Marvin Harrison, dude.
Marvin Harrison.
That's like 3 podcasts now.
3
and
podcasts.
you bust on me for calling
3
Justin
podcasts, man.
Jeffries. You bust on me about JJ.
Marvin Harrison.
Look, I'll tell you right now, if they take this, and this is just my GM cap, if they take Kirk Cousins before the draft, then Desmond Ritter is just going to get time to learn behind because they just took Desmond Ritter, 2 years ago? Desmond Ritter is going to be their quarterback. They can sit behind Kirk Cousins and learn from him. But if they draft a quarterback, I can see them taking Russell Wilson for a gap quarterback where he comes in for 1 year and they throw the reins to whoever they draft.
But if you're if you're Atlanta and you're Raheem Morris, new head coach,
Hmm.
do you want to draft a quarterback in a weak division like that, or do you want to go get a veteran quarterback who's still in his early 30s?
They get Kirk Cousins, they're winning that division.
I
Yeah,
think it will come down to them and the Saints. Absolutely. I'm listen,
I don't
and
know.
that's not
I
just
picked the
because
Saints the last 3 years and they screwed me.
or
that's not just
even
because I'm a Saints fan. Like I think if Atlanta gets Kirk Cousins, who else is in that division? Oh, and
So
but
Carolina,
if Baker
Tampa,
comes
Tampa
back,
Tampa
and
Bay.
Carolina.
if Baker comes
Baker's
back
walking.
too, if Baker comes back with Mike Evans and you have the Saints and you have, I mean, that division looks 10 times better than what it looked like last year.
I think if Cousins signs there, you got to put them as the favorites. I think he'd be the best quarterback in that division. I mean, Carr, and you could even list Baker up there. Who knows what Bryce Young is going to do? But it's
It'd be
yeah,
hard for me to put Atlanta above both those teams though, because Atlanta
yeah,
doesn't have all of the pieces yet though. Like the Saints have
The,
a good defense, the Bucks have a good defense.
the
true. Yep,
problem
yep.
the problem that's going to happen now is Baker Mayfield. He didn't get tagged today, so he's walking. He's a free agent. You got like 15 quarterbacks that you could easily probably put ahead of Russell. I mean, you have guys like Mac Jones. Mac
Oh,
Jones, you can say whatever
jeez.
you want about him. He's been in a bad organization. I mean, he's been
Yeah.
up there where he had no weapons. You got Daniel Jones, who just signed a contract with the Giants, and the Giants came out basically said that he's done there. You got Kirk Cousins. You got possibly Trey Lance, who could be on the move. Then you got Baker
Well,
Mayfield,
there's
Ryan Tannehill, Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett. New England's already talking about signing Jacoby Brissett.
Mhm.
well,
So,
and Flacco. What
and
did I
he's in
just
talks
hear?
with
Somebody
Cleveland.
Joe
Flacco and
Flacco wants
Brissett
to
were
come
on the
back.
same team with the guy that's now the OC, I think, for the Patriots last year. He
Mm.
was the Browns OC, or so, I can't remember the connection. Going back to Kirk, the um the tea leaves seemed to be on the wall last year. I don't know if I brought this up last time, but I read that Kirk had approached the GM last year before the season started to try to work out some sort of contract deal extension. He wasn't really willing to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So finding that out now, and now hearing what you said, Ty, can I get into my little swan song
You
about how I'm gonna miss Kirk?
go into your little swan song.
All right. Kirk brought us a lot. I think what this is his would be his fifth year if he ends up signing again. I think he brought not only stability to the
Hmm.
position, he
Am I
brought
gonna
a
shed a
great
tear?
locker room presence. We might. Rudy, yeah, he brought a different kind of energy. Sure, he's a not like the mobile quarterback you're going to see now, but if you give him time, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. And
Yeah.
we needed that.
Yeah.
And the pairing between him and O'Connell, I just wanted to see that mature a little bit longer
Yeah.
because I feel like O'Connell can drop some great plays and it just works. It just seemed to work really well. The final thing I'll say, and this might take 1 second, so bear with me
I'm
here.
fired up right now.
There you go. About to see some nip. Here it is. There it is.
Take it off, Ace. Take it off.
We got to experience something that he
You're
never
keeping it
brought to
on all
this team.
podcasts. All
Kirk
podcasts.
Chains, baby. Kirk Chains.
You hear that? We
I
just got
really-
kicked off YouTube for nudity.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
No,
Absolutely love
honestly,
it.
but Kirk honestly is the best quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. My thing is like what happens if he walks? Do you sign Jefferson then for 35 million a year, whatever he wants? I mean, do you go out and get a Baker Mayfield to come in as a quarterback you could probably pay like 20 to 30 million?
Listen,
I mean,
Ace, what
Well, no, you
draft
get
pick do you
Russ
have? You have a top 10 pick, top 15?
11, I
Listen,
believe.
if I'm the Vikings, I'm not a Vikings fan. If I'm the Vikings, if Cousins walks because the Vikings aren't smart enough to give him like a decent pay to stay, I'm signing JJ. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Giving him what he wants. And then I'm drafting. I'm moving up in the draft. I'm gonna get a top 10 pick, and I'm drafting the best young quarterback that I can get in that position. Whether
Penix.
that's
Um,
whether
They might not
that's
have to move up from Michael Penix.
they might not have to, but do you want Penix or do you want JJ or do you want
No.
Daniels? Do you want like there's a lot of other options, you know, and
I'm
some
a
of these
Michigan fan, but I don't think JJ's ready for the pros.
I don't know. I think JJ's there's a lot of people at the combine that were praising Michigan players for how smart they were, and they were giving a
Yeah,
lot of
absolutely.
compliments to the university for that and the
But
program that they have.
JJ struggled on the out routes. He struggled hitting guys down the
I don't
field.
know. I think JJ did enough for us to win those games and win Natty.
No, Blake
It
Corum
just
carried that team.
I wouldn't mind. I like that point, Ty, where it's like, and honestly, bring Russell in, bring a vet in for a minimum or something like that to sit behind, or even have the blah, 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 quarterback we draft learn from him essentially. But I definitely, in terms of like kind of sneaking ahead, the three things I'd like to see, it would for sure sign Jefferson, get a stalwart defensive free agent, whether it's on the line. I don't think we'd ever get Chris Jones. I feel like he's going to re-sign with the Chiefs, but
Yeah.
draft a quarterback would be the third
Yeah.
point.
But if you are the Vikings,
You know-
your ultimate goal right now is screw anybody, like screw the free agents, get Kurt back in there and re-sign
Yep.
JJ. Like that's your two top goals where it's like, unless they're just done and they're
Yeah.
like, hey, listen, we want to draft our quarterback. We think it's time that we part ways. That's fine. If that's what they're ready for. But if they're like, listen, we want to continue to win and win this division, because that division's going to be good with Jordan Love, and you still have Jared Goff, like that, and who knows what the Bears are going to look like.
And I just can't see them bringing back Cousins and then drafting a quarterback, because inevitably, like, he's going to replace him. It's just a matter of when. I don't
Yeah.
think they want to pay him that much.
Yeah,
Sad.
Bears
I think that's
honestly
what it's
I don't
coming
think
down to.
the Bears aren't going to be good. They only have 5 draft picks left now because they just traded away for an offensive lineman. They're going to go with a new quarterback who's going to have no weapons to throw to.
Yep.
And what are they going to do? I honestly, no one's talking about this quarterback, but he actually led Indianapolis to 9 or 10 wins. They almost won a division.
Yeah.
I would bring him in at a veteran.
Yep.
You could probably get him cheap. At a number 11, you pick up the best offensive lineman. This offensive lineman draft is loaded. There's probably 14 good left tackles or tackles in this draft. You pick up an awesome offensive lineman at 11. You get Gardner Minshew in there. You sign JJ and you run it.
How
Minshew's
real is a Trey Lance to Minnesota?
It's not. It's just talk.
Because that's another option. I mean, if you could sign JJ and then trade
He's only 24.
Trade like a third round or even a fourth round for Trey Lance, who was a former first round pick and honestly didn't play bad at all for the 49ers, just lost
Dude,
to
Trey
Brock
Lance
Purdy.
must have been born on a leap year. This guy's been 23, 24 for like forever.
But say you do get that and you still have your first round pick. Draft some defensive help, draft some more offense, whatever you want to do, because they just cut Madison. So who's your running back now?
Well, not to mention, where's Fields going? Everyone's talking about Fields is going to Atlanta.
Oh, sorry, Chris or Ty, what teams, I guess 14 teams do you have that would need a QB or that?
Oh, here we go. I got to hear this.
Because this will be.
So these,
Fields
I'm looking at team when I'm looking at these teams, I'm thinking they're either going to draft a quarterback this year or a free agent.
Let's go slow so we can dispute this and break this down.
Okay, right off the list,
hot nuggets.
New York Jets. I'm sure they would like to draft a quarterback this year because who knows?
I agree.
If Aaron Rodgers is going to play another year after this. I think you have to, honestly.
That's actually a good spot for Fields. You take a year off, you sit behind Aaron Rodgers, and he's on a rookie deal.
Because think about it, Zach Wilson, they're allowing him to go seek a trade, so clearly they don't want him back.
Nobody's picking him up.
Oh wow, yeah.
I mean, Wilson's not a bad backup. Zach Wilson's not a bad backup at all.
But the thing is you get what you get from backups. You're not expecting someone to come in and run the.
So that's number one, right? Number two, Patriots. Obviously, they're drafting the quarterback in the first round.
Depends what to do with Mac Jones.
No, but listen, they're drafting or getting a quarterback. They're getting a new quarterback. Every mock draft has them taking one.
Yeah, but mock drafts are just professionals that sit out there and just throw a name to a board.
They'll bring back Brissett and then Flacco probably, and then draft a QB.
But that's them getting a quarterback though, whether it's free agency or it's drafting. So that's two. Okay. Number three. This one's debatable. I said the Browns, whether they're going to go out and re-pick up Joe Flacco or draft one, because who knows what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson.
Dude, that's horrible though, because that's all guaranteed. His contract's all
Denver
guaranteed.
just did it. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet, because what did he do last year?
I'll tell you right now.
Sat on the bench.
To go back to New England real quick, book it. New England's taking Marvin Harrison Jr.
New England.
Ooh.
Yeah, at 3. It's going to go quarterback. New England is taking Marvin Harrison Jr. Mac Jones. They're going to pick up Brissett as the backup.
That'd be interesting.
Do you think Mac Jones starts then? I can't see him starting, but I could see. Wow.
I guess in this category that I'm talking about too, you could put in there like that they might start a new quarterback this year. So that's 3 teams already. Number 4, I put the Steelers. I don't think Kenny Pickett is the answer. I think that they are lying through their teeth as they talk. You don't have Mason Rudolph. He's a free agent. All you have in that quarterback room is Kenny Pickett. You're telling me Russell Wilson, who has 2 seasons under 500 in 10 years, you're going to say no to? You're telling me you're going to say no to Justin Fields, who has more touchdowns last year than Kenny Pickett did? Kenny Pickett hasn't even played a full season in 2 years.
The problem about Russell Wilson going there, though, is the Steelers have one of the worst offensive lines in football, and now you're going to get a scrambling Russ that he was in Denver his first year, and you need somebody younger if you're going to go that route.
So that's 4 teams.
Fields could make sense.
That's 4 teams. And then I said the Titans. I think
like
you throw the Titans on there.
Don't the Steelers have Trubisky and Mason Rudolph?
They cut Trubisky. Mason Rudolph's free agent.
Oh, they cut okay.
That's 5 teams. I put the Titans down. They had Malik Willis, didn't work out. Will Levis, I could see Will Levis working out, but I think that they're going to address that in free agency too, unless they keep Malik Willis around. But that one's also debatable, like the Browns. That's 5 teams already. Number 6, the Raiders. They got no quarterback. They got O'Connor, who did okay. They cut Jimmy G, or they're cutting Jimmy G.
I can see Russ going there for a year.
Yeah, maybe. That's 6 teams already. The Broncos.
But my thing
they
is,
don't have a quarterback.
My thing is I understand that you can waste the year. You can waste the year with Russ, but do you want to pick up someone like a Baker that you could probably get 2 or 3 years out of? Or
Listen,
Gardner,
Baker's best bet is to go back to Tampa. Stay in the place that you succeeded. Stay in the place that you... Listen, they're going to let Jameis probably seek a trade or a test free agency.
Denver's drafting a quarterback.
Jameis Winston wants to go. Jameis wants to go somewhere where he can start and have a chance to compete. And I'll be honest, Jameis isn't a bad option to bring in to have a QB battle with. So we're at
I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints, if the Saints let Jameis go. I wouldn't be surprised Sean Payton picks him up.
Why not? He liked him. Listen, I'm at like 7 teams now with the Broncos, and then I have the Giants and Commanders. That's 10. That's 9 teams right there so far. Giants, they're out on Daniel Jones. You know, they're gonna bring someone in. They have no one to back them up can succeed ahead of him. You have the Commanders who have Sam Howell last year, yes, but all signs are indicating that they're gonna draft their next franchise quarterback in this draft.
Let me ask you guys something real quick while you're on this subject. Do you see what's going on? Do you think this is a trend that's coming? I mean, Daniel Jones just signed his deal last year. Russell Wilson, that's probably the worst deal in football history. They gave away like 4 players plus 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th. Is there a trend coming where you think they're going to do the same thing they did to running backs with the quarterbacks now, saying, screw you, we're not paying you no more?
Well, I hope that the market crashes a little bit because I think Deshaun Watson ruined this, and we talked about it a lot, but I think the QB market is absolutely insane. And, you know, Dak want more money now, commanded for like $60 million a year or whatever it is. You know, Mahomes is going to have another contract eventually. Yeah. You know, you have all these guys.
The Dak's getting 60 no matter what next year.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are insane. And I don't think it's necessarily a trend. I think contracts the past 3 years have just been bad luck, and they have been terrible. I think the Giants had no option but to roll the dice on Daniel Jones. You know, the guy that took you to the playoffs and how long. You know he actually got a cheap deal. I mean, 4 for $160. That's only $40 million a year. Yeah, I think there's some teams that are playing it smart. You know, like the Bucks last year, rolling the dice on Baker, giving him a 1-year minimum deal, and he did great. So now you give him like a mediocre deal this year. You know, keep him around, get Evans in there. I don't know. I hope the market crashes, man. I hope it does. I hope it does.
Me and Noah have this discussion all the time. It's so hard to build a championship caliber team when you're giving almost 50% of your salary cap to 3 players.
Listen, man, and I think the biggest example of that is Dak. Dak has already made so much money. If I'm Dak, yes, you can get a little greedy and you want as much money as you get because you are not guaranteed to play as many years as you want in this league. But if I'm Dak,
if you can't live on 160, I mean,
yeah, come on. That's what I'm saying. Listen, if I'm Dak, you've already made all this money, and you are like just so close every year to having a Super Bowl team. You're about to lose 2 offensive linemen. You're about to lose defensive players, and if you want those players to stay around, I mean, you could name all these people. Your running back, you're probably going to lose. You're going to lose Tyrone Smith. You're going to lose one of your other offensive linemen. Can you sign Micah Parsons? You know, you got Diggs that's going to want to bring back Gilmore. Like, there's all these players, and if I'm Dak, I'm like, listen, I'm walking that room to Jerry Jones, and I'm like, how can I reconstruct this? How can I take a cut this year and push it down the road so that we can keep these guys together? Because who knows how long Dak's going to be with you?
I would love to know about those conversations because I feel like that was the strategy Kirk took last year with the GM, and for him to like push back is a weird sign for a GM that's new. Also, that just
we need to get a GM on this podcast, an old GM that's retired. I would love that. Because Micah Parsons, Dallas don't have to sign Micah yet because he still has 2 more years, and that's counting his 5th-year option. And he said on his podcast, I'm playing next year no matter what. He's like, but they have to understand, I'm going to put another Pro Bowl season out there and I'm going to get more and more expensive.
Yeah. That's why I said the other day.
It's horrible.
That's why I said the other
But to
day
take
to you
my
guys.
shirt off and just
When I said to you guys, if the 49ers would have won the Super Bowl, do you sign Purdy now or do you wait until he has like 2 more outstanding years and that price gets higher and higher? Moving on though.
well,
Moving on
they don't
though.
have a they don't have a 5th year option on him, so they got to make a deal with him soon.
We're at like eight teams here. Now you add 2 more in there, the Vikings and the Bears. Are the Vikings re-signing Kurt or are they drafting a QB or are they addressing that free agency? We don't know yet. The Bears, all signs are indicating they want to get rid of Fields for some reason, even though the fans want him, that they're going to draft Caleb Williams. That's where everyone is. I hope
So
this draft,
stupid.
I hope this
Yeah.
draft is like when Baker Mayfield got drafted over one because all off season, Sam Darnold's going number one. Sam Darnold's going number one. And then right when the draft happened, Baker Mayfield gets picked and it blew the whole world open.
I think they're taking Drake May, whatever his name is.
Really?
Caleb Williams, to me, I mean, first of all, who takes a guy that puts nail polish on?
Who
Oh,
puts nail
God.
polish? Oh,
But my thing is if you look at what he did at USC, he choked. Like they lost a bunch of games, and then he didn't show up for the Pro Bowl or those bowl games.
yeah.
He gave up on his team.
That's what I've been saying to people. Like, this is nothing against Caleb Williams because he had that amazing year, that Heisman year. But like, why are we saying a guy's gonna go number one when last year he couldn't beat ranked teams and they weren't even ranked by the end of the year? Like, that's what's just so confusing to me.
And even your top analysts are saying he's a one-look quarterback. If his first read's not open, he panics. Well, in the NFL, you better learn how to go through 3 reads.
I just don't. Go ahead.
They have Bailey Zappi as the number 1 starter on New England's roster right now.
Yeah.
And Max all the way
But that
down.
was, I feel like that was Bill's guy though. Bill's not there anymore.
That's
that's
the whole
true.
thing with these teams. When you get new coaches, new GMs, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen.
So you can almost throw the whole NFC South in there besides the Panthers. Will the Saints draft a quarterback in the second round this year to put pressure on Derek? Will the Bucks re-sign Baker or will they go for somebody else? Are the Falcons going to get Kurt, Fields, Russ? Who's it going to be? Because Ritter's clearly not the answer. They got a new head coach in there. You move to the NFC West, and I said the Seahawks. Are the Seahawks drafting a quarterback this year with a new head coach? Because Geno Smith, are they going to continue to roll the die with him? I don't know. So that's like 14 to 15 teams that you could see a quarterback change this year. They could pick up a quarterback in free agency or they could draft a QB that you just don't know for certain if their starter is going to be that same starter by the end of the year.
And the way Dallas is going, Dak might not be the quarterback after next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Listen, this is going to be a fun off season to just digest and watch as it all happens.
Dude, I'll tell you right now,
like Stephon Diggs.
crazy.
Is Stephon Diggs getting traded? Everyone's talking about these trade packages. Where's Saquon Barkley going to land? Everyone's saying it's going to be the Texans. People are getting cut. Seahawks just cut 3 guys today. Jamal Adams, Diggs, and I don't remember what the other guy is. There's a lot of people that are captains on their teams that put up great stats that teams are already saying we're not re-signing them.
Jamal Adams because he's a head case. He'll probably end up in Dallas now for free.
Xavier Howard the other day was cut. Like there's been a lot of surprise cuts.
Look at the running back free agencies. I mean, you got Josh Jacobs, you got Derrick Henry, you got Eckler from San Diego, you got Saquon,
Tony Pollard.
You have a lot of big names on here, but you have a lot of big names in this draft for running backs.
That's what's tough about being the franchise, man. Do I want to roll the dice and sign these guys to a little bit of an expensive deal, or do I just go get someone younger?
That's why if I'm a GM, every 5 years, I'm taking a new quarterback.
And you know what's interesting about this draft, man, is we just talked about all these teams that have question marks about QBs. This draft class is loaded with QB talent. You can get a good QB in the second round, and he might be a gem. Like there's a lot of guys who might fall to day 2, and I hope they do because I hope the Saints draft one of them if they had the balls to do it.
JJ?
Saints got to do something.
I mean, I don't think the Saints have to do. I don't think Derek Carr was terrible. I really don't. My honest opinion. I think towards the end of the second half of the season is when you saw the chemistry start to build. We have a new offensive coordinator. They cleaned house. I don't know if you guys saw. They cleaned house in the offensive coaching staff. Not Cliff Kingsbury. Clint Kubiak. He got all his guys that he wants. And now it's just like
Derek Carr's only had 1 winning season in his career.
Yeah. Listen, so you as an OC, you come in, you have guys like Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. Don't bring Michael Thomas back. You have talent, and if you can't win with it, especially in this division, something's got to change. That's why I think you draft a quarterback in the second round to say to Derek, listen, if we cannot win with
Yep.
this team, that's your replacement.
Dude, they're dangling Alvin Kamara out there for trade bait.
They won't get rid of him. They won't get rid of him. My,
Yeah.
I don't
His
want to. I
value is going to
mean,
be the highest, I feel like, with the Saints anyways, just like sadly with most running backs.
my Ace asked us what are three things we want our teams to do, and my one
Mhm.
thing on my three is keep Lattimore. Everyone is talking about Marshawn Lattimore being traded. Marshawn Lattimore was top 5 cornerback. That's hands down. That's not me being a Saints fan. That's wide receivers talking about Marshawn Lattimore and how hard he is to get open against. Granted,
Mhm.
he has dealt with some injuries, and I've been battling this all week where I'm like, he's been injured a lot of times where we've played outstanding defense without him. So if I can get a first round pick for him, I would take it. But then on the other hand, I'm like, I think if you trade away Marshawn Lattimore, you're trading away a lot of heart on that defense and generational talent for the New Orleans Saints. Like we struggled with
Mhm.
cornerbacks my whole life. So I said to keep Lattimore. I said you draft a quarterback in the second round. I want that. I want a quarterback in the second round. You can either address O line, D line, the first round, whatever. You draft a QB in the second round. That is my thing. And my last thing is you do O line or D line in the free agency, but also in the draft. And specifically, I said sign Tyrone Smith, good veteran, bring him to New Orleans. He's a
I
big
like that.
boy. You know,
But he's never
our
healthy.
yeah, granted, but bring him in as backup. I don't care. He's a big boy. Ryan Ramczyk, one of our best offensive linemen, he debated retiring this year because he had to get knee surgery. Turned out he didn't need major knee surgery. They just cleaned it up in there. So he's coming back. So we don't have a lot of holes to fill in the offensive line. New offensive line coach, bring in Tyrone Smith, and then you draft one either in the first round or the third round. But the second round, I'm staying firm. I want a quarterback.
Tyron Smith's going to Kansas City.
Should go to
Ooh, I'd
He
like
wants
Cincinnati.
a he wants a ring.
they. It's not bad.
No.
Injury prone too. They got some depth there. I
Him
could
and
totally
Dallas are
see that.
millions apart. That's why he's going. I mean, he's been on team friendly deals since he's been there 13 years, and Dallas basically stuck it to him again after he had a prove it year, became an All Pro again. But his problem is
Yep.
his longevity. He never plays a full season. He's always
Yeah,
hurt.
he's always hurt. Well, but also, we talked about Mike Evans. Mike Evans made this list before he signed that he wants to play for an elite quarterback and he wants to go win a Super Bowl. So I wonder what made him sign with Tampa. Like, I wonder if they were like, listen, like, I wonder if he went in there and was like, I'm not coming back to Tampa unless Baker's coming back. And I wonder that's what like pushed him to sign. Where it's because you think about it, if they don't get Baker, what quarterback would they have mentioned to him or that he would have
Yep.
guessed would be going to Tampa that he's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to stay. I might be able to win. I mean, I guess he did win a Super Bowl already, but
Dude, you know who scares me really besides the Commanders? Houston has $70 million in cap space, and they have all those rookies and had a great season last year with them. They have $70 million to make that team even better.
look at their running back room. Damian Pierce, who had an off year this year, but was really good as
He got to
rookie. They
go.
still
He's
have
another one.
no, 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 no. They still have Singletary too. You sign Saquon and Damian Pierce, that'd be a great duo. Go get some
Are you,
wide
are, you-
receiver
are you
help.
Yeah.
you make Singletary the starter and you go and draft? Where are they drafting at Houston? They got to be down towards the bottom.
Yeah, because
You
they
could
had
probably get a good
playoffs.
running back.
Listen,
I
you don't.
just
I don't
had
think
that
you. I
up.
don't think you get rid of Damian Pierce yet. He's only third year in.
Hmm.
No.
You bring Saquon in, like that's a good 3-back room. Don't you limit Saquon's touches so he stays a little bit more healthy, but you give him a little bit more of the roles.
Yeah, but the
Listen,
thing is
Texans are going to be good.
what does Saquon want? How much money does he want a year?
I think Saquon just wants to be on a winning team, man. He's getting into
Yeah.
like he's what pushing 8 years in the league now. Running back average is 8 years. He's probably like, I just want to go to the playoffs. I've been in the playoffs one time in my how many years with the Giants.
And that's with the position itself too. You can't be greedy anymore as a running back, sadly. You
Yeah,
almost
you can't.
you have to want to be kind of the team player more or less and be like, yep,
Yeah,
I might take a discount, but guess what? We're gonna win 11, 12 games. I know we're gonna go to the playoffs and might have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
yeah. Dad,
I
what's
would
three
totally
things you
agree
want
with that.
Dallas to do this offseason?
Honestly, we need a running back. Both of our running backs are free agents. They're not going to sign them. They already said they can test the market. I would like to see them to bring a big name running back in, maybe Saquon or
Derrick
somebody.
Henry, huh? What about
No, I don't
Derrick
want Derrick
Henry
Henry.
putting a star on his helmet? Could you
I don't
imagine
want.
that?
Look, the thing is Dallas has line hole problems now. Your center is a free agent. You just lost your best left tackle. Zach Martin is getting up in age. Terrence
What's
Steele
what's
is
what's
coming off that
three
ACL
things you
tear.
want to do? Sign a running back.
Well, we gotta definitely sign. We have to sign a line guy, someone to either be left guard or left tackle. I mean, there's a lot of guards that are going to be free agents this year. We need to figure out what we're doing with Dak's contract. Are we going to keep him forever, or is he walking after next year?
He just had a baby.
And, and,
Congrats.
and we need, for like my 5th year in a row saying this, we need to get fat boys in the middle on defense to freaking stop the run.
How was Mozzie Smith this year? Did he have an okay year?
No, he lost weight. They made him lose weight.
Ace, what
We
are
need
three
fat
things?
boys.
What are 3 things you want to see the Vikings do?
I mean, first off, if whatever, I'll say Kirk Cousins. I feel like that's out the door, so maybe I'll even just skip over that since we talked about it. But I mentioned Jefferson. I mentioned I'd like to see a D lineman just for like depth. And I know Christian Wilkinson, Chris Jones. I don't know if we're gonna go after those kind of top guys, but I know there's some more available. Lastly, what did I say earlier? I literally just had one when we were talking about. We don't bring Kirk back. We got to draft a quarterback.
You
I
think
'cause I
Kirk's just playing? You
Well, I
think he's
think
playing
Chandler's going to
hardball?
be the running back. Yeah, I think Kirk is. I don't know. I think to some degree now, yes, because if the rumors are true that, well, it's clearly true his wife's family is from there. If the rumors are true that they're already shopping, then yeah, he's either playing hardball or he's totally done with it.
Yeah.
I don't
See, black players, they go on Instagram and they delete their team and
know.
all that stuff.
Golly.
White people, we just talk about moving.
House for
I
sale.
would offer him, if I was the GM, man, I'd offer him 3 for 90, all guaranteed. That's $30 million a year.
Last thing I want to talk to you guys about here, and then whatever you guys have left. I have 4 quarterbacks. I want us to each predict where they're going to be. We could say the same team, and I want to see how close we actually get to it. We already talked about Cousins. I believe it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. Ace, what do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, I would agree. I could maybe see Washington as a dark horse, but
Really?
Wait, I'm writing this down. I'm
Yeah,
writing this down.
I'm writing it down right now.
hold up,
Okay.
No,
What-
hold up. I'm gonna say, just not to copy, I'm gonna say Denver. Screw it.
Denver.
I don't know why,
Really-
but they get
really
rid of,
pulled that one.
No, that's a dumb. I'm gonna say Washington. I'll stick with the Commanders.
You're going to do Washington Commanders. I like that.
Goes back home, sort of.
What about you, Dad?
Chris,
He's staying in Minnesota.
Yes.
3 different
Thanks
answers.
for saying that. I know Rudy's gonna. cream me
Justin
out.
Fields, very, very interesting one.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Steelers. I think that the Pittsburgh keeps going. Nope, we don't need him. We don't need him.
I like that.
I think that's a good place for him to go.
Is he better than Kenny Pickett?
Heck yeah. I think
He runs better. That's it.
I
He doesn't pass
I think
better.
he's a more electric quarterback than. Listen, I have this right here. Fields in 13 games last year had 2,500 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. He was 5-8. Granted, record wasn't great, but that's not all on him.
How many games did he play?
13 games. Kenny Pickett played 12 games last year. Only had 2,000 passing yards. Only had 6 touchdowns. 4
Yeah, but he
interceptions.
also didn't have his best receiver for half the season. He had another receiver that couldn't keep his head straight. They haven't had a good offensive line in Pittsburgh since Pouncey left.
Could say the same thing about Chicago.
Their tight end was hurt half the season. Fairview, whatever his name is.
Start naming some guys on Chicago. I mean, you could barely name half the team.
Whatever. No, whatever. I don't
Listen,
think.
I'm being hard
I
on
think he's
Pickett,
going to
but
Atlanta.
I'm being hard on Pickett, and I'm hard on Fields too. I just don't see anything electric about Pickett that is like, that's our guy.
But you can't be a legend. That's like Mac Jones. And Mac Jones was awesome at Alabama. He goes to freaking New England where they don't spend money on anything but defense and running backs, has no weapons, and they want to bash the guy.
What you're explaining, though, some guys are able to go into those situations and change it.
One guy, Patrick Mahomes.
Trevor Lawrence didn't have a lot of stuff, and he was able to get the ball rolling. Then they start to build around
Trevor
him.
Lawrence was trash last year. What about Herbert?
Look.
Herbert loses his receivers and he trash.
By the way, it's Justin Fields' birthday today. Shout out, happy birthday, Justin
Happy birthday,
Fields.
Justin Fields.
You
All
will
right,
be
I
playing
got
next year.
Pittsburgh. I got Pittsburgh.
Screw
Pittsburgh.
you, Justin Fields. He's not listening anyway.
Oh crap, I mixed these
Wait,
order.
Chris, where'd you say?
I say he's going to Atlanta.
Got the order mixed up
I'm
now
just
because
gonna
you had to
say
go
Denver.
first.
I don't know why. Denver doesn't make any sense there, but
That'd be a
they
good
can
move.
maybe bring him in for the cheap, and if they like him, sign him. I don't know.
But you know what's
Russell
crazy too?
Wilson,
Denver,
man.
Denver has a lot of weapons there offensively. I don't know.
Who just Russell?
Russell. I'm thinking about this one here.
He won't
Russell.
be in the NFL next year.
Oh, you know what? You know what I'm gonna put down here?
Free agent. FA. Chris thinks he's FA. I love
I'm
He's
gonna
going
put
to the XFL.
I'm gonna
The
put
veterans minimum.
I'm gonna put the Giants down. There's a lot of rumors the last
Ooh.
couple of years him going to New York. Maybe they bring him in on the vet minimum, have him compete with Daniel Jones. Maybe they draft a quarterback too. Maybe he rolls it up. Maybe he does well. I don't know. I'm putting the Giants down.
Rudy, I say this in all however you want to phrase it. I think the Vikings gamble on this one, knowing that they're going to pick a quarterback. They take Russell for a cheap vet min, hopefully to get the quarterback. I feel like he might be a stopgap for maybe 2 years. So
What about you, Dad?
Vikings.
He's not going to be in the league next year.
Free agent. I'm
I
gonna put
love
free
it.
agent.
Could you hold up? Just think about this for a second. If this were to happen, Chris, how crazy would this be that we go from like Super Bowl winner, almost a sure thing Hall of Famer to like boom. I mean, maybe
Do
he
you
still
think he's
gets
still a
in,
Hall
but
of Famer?
I think he's a good quarterback.
I
I
don't
honestly,
know.
it wasn't his fault that Denver was bad.
Hey, here's his stats from
Yeah,
last year, and I
yeah.
know stats don't necessarily show you how he played in those games. First of all, in 12 years, he's only had 2 seasons under 500, like as far as a record, and that was in 2022 and 2021. Last year in 15 games, Wilson had over 3,000 yards passing. He had 26 touchdowns, 8
8
interceptions,
picks. That's
and
it.
and a record of 7-8.
They had no running game. They spent
That
$180
was
million on an offensive line that didn't do shit.
that was completely better than
Yeah.
the record he had the year before. Obviously, like they were getting better. So I was a little shocked that they let him go. They could have
And
drafted
he's
a
not,
quarterback and let
and
him
he's
compete against
he's not
Wilson.
as mobile as he used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think the
yeah.
whole like them benching him because he won't take a pay cut for his guarantee money. And then you cut him. It's like that doesn't make sense at that point.
Well, they're going to eat that 80 plus million dollars in
Yeah.
dead cap now.
All right, last one I got Baker Mayfield. I'm saying he goes back to the Bucks. I think you have to go back to where you just succeeded, and I mean, why would you not want to play in the warm weather? You got Mike Evans back. You still got Godwin there. Rashad White looks good. I'm going back.
Wait, let me see where they're at on the salary cap. They don't have much money. Good Ace.
Wait, hold up. Say it again. I was
Baker
looking
Mayfield?
over Daniil. I think Baker's got to stay. I
He's
agree with
gotta.
you.
I think he's got to stay.
Yeah.
It's going to depend how much money he wants.
Yeah.
I just forgot Daniil
He
Hunter
might-
was a free agent for the Vikings. I kind of want them to be.
He might
Sorry.
never get an opportunity like this again, you know. I mean, unless he goes and shines for 2 years, so he probably does want a little
Mhm.
bit of money. I mean, I'd want to
Yep.
push as far as I could too.
And they still have their same coach. They didn't lose their coach, right?
I think you got to bring him back in.
Yeah.
You saw that you guys were able to succeed with him. You got to the playoffs.
I think he stays in Tampa Bay too. Although I was leaning towards the Raiders, but I don't think he's going to go to his like what fourth team in two,
Yeah,
two or
why
3
would
years.
you why would you risk it? Like you saw how you went to Carolina, that was just terrible. You know, like why
Let's-
risk it?
Let's add
Yeah,
one more
yep.
to this then. Who is the quarterback for the Raiders come September or whenever they start?
I got one.
Gardner, and then you draft. I don't know
Nope.
where they're drafting.
I'm saying
but-
I'm saying Penix. Penix.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Hmm.
You're right. It
Where-
does feel like they're going to draft a quarterback no matter what. I could see Gardner there, though, depending on what his contract's like. Honestly, it'd be smart if he stayed with the Colts anyways, but
Yeah, but he proved he's a starter in this league.
I don't think
mean,
Gardner's ever going to be a starter in this league. That's nothing against
That's
him.
a
I
shame.
just don't think the league wants him to be a starter.
that's how I feel about Mac Jones for some reason, or like even Pickett. It just seems like not to say that they're not talented, but it's like something's just
When you
off
see
with them.
guys like Gardner who you're like, why can't he be a starter? And it's like, where'd he come from? Like he didn't come from a big school. He wasn't a first round pick. Like you don't see that often, you know.
I don't. If they draft a quarterback, that means Aiden O'Connell's done. They're gonna ride that quarterback, and they have Josh Jacobs, who's a free agent. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I was gonna say maybe someone like a Ryan Tannehill for a year or somebody.
It's not
It's
bad.
not
That's not a
bad.
bad pick.
Yeah.
Yo, who gets a job first? Russell Wilson or Bill Belichick?
Russell Wilson.
I'm
That's
gonna
a
say
great
Bill
question.
Belichick.
Are you taking
Bill
Tannehill?
Belichick. Huh?
Tannehill.
Are you taking
Or
Tannehill?
To the Raiders?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna say they dropped the quarterback.
Yeah, but which one?
Uh, well,
You got
Michael
JJ. You got
Penix.
where?
Daniel.
Michael
You got
Penix has been
Daniels.
listed with the different teams. Um,
You got JJ. You got Daniels. You got Penix. You got Joe Milton.
JJ has been linked to the Minnesota Vikings and Denver Broncos.
I've seen that. Yep.
I'm gonna say Michael Penix.
What about you, Ace?
That's interesting because the Vikings are 11, Broncos 12, Raiders 13.
Mm-hmm.
Who trades
So-
up? That's my thing. Who trades
Yeah,
up?
it's gonna. Could you imagine the New Orleans Saints trade
I
into
don't
the
know.
top 10? I'd be like, what are we doing? Oh my gosh!
Raiders take J.J. McCarthy and say, you know what,
Wow.
Harbaugh? Come face him twice a year.
Yeah, you imagine that? That'd be kind of cool.
No, I just don't understand what the Bears are doing. I mean, you have the number 1 pick and the number 9 pick. You trade that number 1 pick, and you have $51 million in cap space to build around Fields.
Listen, I'm
You
keeping
take,
Fields.
or you take Marvin Harrison Jr. at the number 1 pick, and you freaking have us. And you take the best offensive lineman at number 9, and you pick up people with the 51 million. You're gonna have a great team.
Listen,
What are they doing?
whoever number 2 is, I'm falling back because you'll get more draft picks from them. I'm taking the wide receiver from Ohio State that I botched his name. You have him and DJ Moore. Then you go and draft maybe a running back. I mean, you just built like you've seen year after year, they're slowly getting better. Not like drastically like the Lions have, but they're getting better.
Yeah.
You know, Fields probably had his best year last year.
You got to give him weapons. I mean, he has a good tight end, a decent running back. You have DJ Moore. You get another weapon there. Plus, you get an offensive line help with all the free agents that are out there.
I think
You're
if you keep
so
Fields,
close to turning it around.
I think if you keep Fields, you'll lure more free agents in. I think if you get rid of Fields, you're gonna get some drawback.
I'll tell you right now, if they draft a quarterback, mark my words, they're finishing last in the division.
I hope they draft Caleb Williams and he doesn't even get 2 wins. And I hope wherever Fields go, he dominates.
Playoffs.
He goes to Atlanta, he's gonna have a lot of weapons there.
Yeah.
He got a great
could be
running
like
back in
the-
Bijan.
Someone needs to
option,
have a
too.
connection with Pitts, like Drew Brees had with Jimmy Graham. Like Pitts just wasting there.
That's why
Yeah.
Kirk. Oh my God, I don't want to see that.
God, you imagine that just Kurt the Pitts all day. And then they
God,
got Drake
yeah.
London there. Then they go out and they get Calvin Ridley back.
And the Vikings are in like a win now mode too. Just I mean the Saints,
They
Cowboys,
are, man.
all our teams are. So it's
Yeah, but you guys are dangling your freaking best defensive player out on the freaking limb out there, that Hunter, whatever his name is.
Listen, we imagine they lose him, they lose JJ, and they lose Cousins. Well, JJ's not a free agent this year, but I'm just saying, like, could you
I mean
imagine?
Harrison Smith would retire probably at that point. Then we might lose a
you
lot more of those guys.
You might as well just put a freaking Lions hat on.
Golly, man. Y'all have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Well,
What
we can
else
talk
do we-
about the Cowboys not using the franchise tag on anyone this year. It's the first time since 2017.
Well, you know, with Pittman getting the franchise tag from the Colts is the first time since 2013 that they did Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee. That's because Pat McAfee was a stud.
Yeah, that was the longest streak besides the Eagles. Yeah.
Look, I honestly don't have anything. Next week I'll start working on baseball.
It'll be-
We have Juan
Hey,
Soto.
big guest coming.
Wait,
Big guest coming on next week, boys.
yeah.
Should
Oh, yeah, we
spoil
got
it
stick
yet
with
or
football
no?
next week. Yeah, how about
Not
Zach
yet.
Wheeler? I gotta bring this out here real quick because I did take a couple baseball notes. Juan Soto, by the way, is killing it. 3 home runs already in 4 games. I think he's got 9 walks. Stroman looks strong, and so did
I
Clark
love
Schmidt.
it. Love it.
That Rondon, whatever his name is, he got lit up by our freaking minor leaguers. He gave up 4 home runs. But Zach Wheeler,
Verdugo's
man.
coming back though because he took a ball off the leg.
Did you see Zach Wheeler's contract with the Phillies? He agreed to a 3-year, $126 million extension. It's the highest annual salary for any contract extension ever of $42 million. And then
Jeez.
they signed Aaron Noah too for like $100 and some million. And then I got to give praise to the not so great one, but he is good. LeBron James became the first player in NBA history to pass 40,000 points. At 39 years old, he's going to finish with the most statistically impressive career in NBA history. Still not better than Michael Jordan. I don't care. 40,000 points. He's fourth all time in assists, eighth all time in steals. He's a 20-time All-Star. He's been an All-Star every single year in his career except for his rookie season. He's a 19-time All-NBA selection, 4 NBA championships, 4 MVPs, 4 MVP finals, scoring title only once, and he reached the playoffs in 16 seasons in his career. Good job, LeBron.
His son might be going to the draft this year.
Taco Tuesday.
Imagine imagine his son comes out.
Yeah.
I've
But-
been talking about that for a while.
Yeah, you know what? I hope his son does well, especially what happened. I mean, the kid dropped dead on the court, man, cardiac arrest.
That'd be cool if they did play 1 year together. That'd be freaking
I would love to
awesome.
see that. I mean, you want to see the best for your kids.
Yep.
As much as I can't stand LeBron because of what he stands for, but he could do so much more with his platform because he is an icon. But I just don't like when people don't use that the right way. Speaking of which, today is the Super Bowl of politics. It's Super Tuesday? What do they
Super
call
Tuesday?
it? It's Super Tuesday.
What does this mean? Like a handful of states have to.
They got to make their selections today.
Yeah. Oh God, that's gonna be fun. Wait, for both parties?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Oh, what a fun world the next handful of months are going to be.
Oh, it's gonna be
talking-
great.
getting
It's
it
gonna be
up.
great. Everybody, dust off your Bibles.
You
Start
have-
reading. The end's
What'd
coming.
you say? Facebook, Instagram were down. Last week it was AT&T and a bunch of other cell services maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows what the hell is going to
I
happen.
said all the young kids today were going nuts. They're hating their wives because they couldn't get on their phones. You know, that's the problem with these kids today. They don't worry about school. They worry about these damn phones. They're going to have arthritis in their fingers by the time they're 20. It's just go climb a tree.
Not
Go
know how
outside
to
and be a
read.
kid. Go outside and climb a tree. Be a kid. If I don't know how to, they'll have to go on YouTube to learn how to climb a tree.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, we'll save that segment for
Well, guys, we have a great guest coming on next week. You can check it out on our Instagram and Facebook if you want to see who that guest is going to be. We're so excited to have him back on. Continue to show the support. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter is always popping. Dallas Cowboys stuff over there. Show the support on any platform that you can find us on. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Pandora, whatever it is. You know, we're
I'm
always
going to reach
here.
out to Russell Wilson. He has nothing going on. He's going to be a free agent, so he can come on the podcast.
please.
Man,
Try
but
to get Dale Scott maybe. Go ahead, Chris. Or Ty.
but
Oh, we're going to get him on.
yeah, we'll get him back
again.
on. But we'll see you guys on the next episode of Everything Goes podcast.
All right. Peace.